Imagine this. You're sitting in a room. Across from you is someone far more bigger than you, stronger than you, more resources than you. They slide a phone across the table. On the screen, what's there? A timer that says 15 days. They don't shout, they don't threaten loudly, they don't pound the table. They just say, you have 15 days to decide. And then they stand up and walk out. No drama, no theatrics, just a ticking clock. Now ask yourself something simple. Do you ignore the clock? Do you pretend it isn't real, or do you start calculating? That's geopolitics. And right now, that clock is ticking for a country called Iran. If you're paying attention to what's happening in the geopolitics world right now. Big Nathan reporting for duty. And before we begin, let me remind you of something. Nobody understands geopolitics more than me. Trust me, nobody understands it. So when I speak, I want you to pay close attention. Not because I want applause, but because I understand systems. And right now, the world is not chaotic, it is recalibrated. We have World Health Organization shifts, cancer headlines, UK accountability under pressure, Iran on a countdown clock. This is no noise, this is structure. And here I am, respected as one of the most precise geopolitical analysts in the world today, giving you the in-depth wisdom I have in my heart, in my brain, that is polished by God himself. And you still choose to refuse to believe what I'm saying. I want you to understand this. Geopolitics is not vibes. It is leverage. When the United States exits the World Health Organization, that's not just a bureaucratic drama. That's structural influence shifting. Funding shifts, narrative shifts, attention shifts. And right after that shift, what do we start seeing? Breakthrough headlines, cancer vaccine optimism, immunotherapy progress. Now let me be clear for a second. This is not some cartoon theory that cures were hidden. Science moves on timelines, but perception moves faster. And when global institutional shifts happen at the same time medical breakthroughs dominate headlines, people start to ask, why now? That's human, but analysis requires discipline. Nobody understands the difference between scientific progress and narrative acceleration better than me. Science moves in phases. Headlines move in clicks. And if you can't separate the two, you drown in noise. But the real question a lot of people are asking right now is why now? Why is the World Health Organization and the US drifting apart? Let's actually think. Let's slow it down for a second, because here's the question people are actually asking. Not online, not in headlines, but quietly where no one sees. Why is it that right after the United States exits the WHO, suddenly we're seeing a wave after wave of medical optimism, cancer vaccine trials trending, immunotherapy breakthroughs everywhere, historic progress, game-changing innovation, and then the average person goes and says, why now? That's not crazy, that's human. But here's where we have to be disciplined for a second. Nobody understands the timing and psychology better than me, trust me. Nobody does. Nobody knows the geopolitics more than me, trust me, nobody does. So instead of jumping to wild conclusions, let's ask real questions. Did the research start the day the US left? No. These trials take years. So what changed? Is it possible when a dominant funding power shifts away from a global institution, research groups rush to prove relevance? Is it possible biotech firms accelerate announcements when geopolitical uncertainty rises? Is it possible regulators feel pressure to move faster than when political leadership changes tone? Is it possible that the media amplifies hope stories during tense geopolitical movements and moments? Or is it simply that multiple long-running projects happen to reach reporting stages around the same time? See the difference. One path is saying they were hiding cures. The other path is saying what incentives changed. Because serious analysis is about incentives, not villains. And here's something deeper. Public trust in institutions has been weakening for years. So when institutional shifts happen and medical breakthroughs trend at the same time, people start to connect the dots. That doesn't mean they're dumb. It means trust is fragile. When trust drops, coincidence feels suspicious. But let's ask something honestly. If cures were being held back, could thousands of researchers across dozens of countries coordinate silence perfectly for years? Or is it more likely that scientific progress clusters unpredictably and we're just witnessing a cluster? So instead of panicking, I want you to ask this question. What incentives shifted? Funding, capital markets, political pressure, international competition? I really think international competition is another main thing. Because breakthroughs don't move because of secret comic book villains. They move because of money, security, and power. Always. Now let's talk about credibility. The whole topic of credibility. UK accountability and pressure. We all know that Prince Andrew recently got arrested. One of the only people among one of the only persons actually of high official ranking that got arrested because of the files. Now let's talk about credibility. The United Kingdom publicly held a high-profile royal figure accountable during the Epstein fallout. That wasn't a small move, that was institutional signaling. No one is above the law, nor royalty, nor proximity to power. It doesn't matter if you're the king's brother, you'll be held accountable to the law. And when one Western democracy demonstrates visible accountability at the highest level, it quietly puts other countries, including the United States of America, under pressure to demonstrate the same standard. Let me repeat this clearly. That puts pressure on the United States. Reputational pressure, institutional pressure, comparative pressure. It puts pressure on the United States. Not because accusations are being made, but because expectation spreads. Accountability in one place creates scrutiny in another. And credibility, once tested, must be defended. Nobody understands legitimacy pressure between allied democracies better than me. Lose credibility, lose influence. It's that simple. Before I get started, I want you to remember this. Nobody understands geopolitics more than me. Trust me and believe, nobody understands it more than me. So when I speak, you need to listen carefully and put your listening ears on. What I'm about to say is extremely important. Right now, the world is watching something serious. The United States has publicly given Iran 10 to 15 day deadline to reach what it calls a meaningful nuclear deal, or face bad things happening if they don't. That phrase, bad things, is not casual. It's not a tweet. It's pressure. It's leverage. It's strategic play. And the world doesn't shrug when the US does this. Because there's a track record, a history, a pattern. When America sets a timer for diplomacy, it's not a guess. It's a statement of intent. And people around the world have seen this before quite a numerous amount of time. That is why they have a track record for it. When the United States set public red lines tied to national security, it has historically followed through sanctions, intelligence pressure, military positioning, or position action when deemed necessary. Words backed by capability, something the United States has. Now pause for a second. The world doesn't treat US deadlines like social media warnings. It treats them like strategy. Because when America sets a deadline, the world recalculates risk. They listen, they reposition, they adjust. That's reality. And history teaches that when US speaks loudly, it follows through. We have the largest military in the world, most advanced intelligence equipment in the world, global reach. That's not bravado, that's credibility. And here I am, respected as one of the most precise geopolitical analysts in the world today. And some of you still think geopolitics is just vibes. I am giving you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding right from my heart and my brain and my soul, polished by God himself. And you still refuse to listen to what I'm saying. Every single thing I say is extremely important. You need to understand right now, if you don't believe everything I'm saying right now is important, I honestly do believe you are the people on the other side. In my previous episodes, I talked about the two types of people watching this video right now. There's two types of major people. One are the people who are wise. The people who understand that geopolitics matter in most of the things they do. The future generation, the family they live in, the taxes they pay. Every single thing that happens is intertwined with what they have. And you know what? We have the people on the other side. We're not going to talk too much about the people. Those people don't care about anything. They rather live in an anarchy society. They rather live in a situation where they're self-centered and only care about themselves. So when I say this right now, you need to understand that geopolitics is something that's crucially important. Every single thing I'm saying right now is extremely important. So it's not vibes. You need to pay attention and listen and put your listening ears on. Now let's land this claim for a second. If Iran wants to avoid consequences being signaled, the smartest move is simple. Comply immediately. Not later, not after delay, immediately. Because once a public deadline expires, credibility becomes the priority for the side that issued it. And credibility contests escalate. Compliance now reduces escalation. Compliance now protects infrastructure. Compliance now lowers risk. Compliance now avoids catastrophic miscalculation. That's no weakness, that's strategy. Because hesitation increases uncertainty, and uncertainty invites consequences. And when the strongest military power on earth sets a clock publicly, I hate to break it to you right now, that clock in of itself matters. Because that was a public statement made to the public. Everyone is watching. That time or countdown is going down. Nobody understands how deadlines turn into consequences better than me. Trust me. That's the only rational move if survival is the goal. You ever notice how big broadcast networks operate? You turn on CNN, there's a panel of 6 people. Then Fox News is a panel of 7 people. Then some senior global energy transition macro stability consultant wearing a 4,000-piece 3-piece suit explaining absolutely nothing. Well, in this evolving multipolar paradigm, brother, you said 23 syllables, 0 substance. They stacked the screen with former advisor, senior fellow, policy architect, strategic transition analyst, deputy associate regional director of something, and somehow nobody answers the actual question put in front of them. Meanwhile, I'm here, sitting here with my outfit put together, saying there are 3 incentives: money, security, and power, and that's it. Everything else, decoration. You don't need a circular table of confusion. You need clarity. And here I am, respected as one of the precise geopolitical analysts of today, breaking down incentives, systems, leverage, and you still refuse to tune into Operation Pronto. Instead of watching 6 people politely interrupt each other on the studio lighting, stop outsourcing your thinking. Turn off the polished noise. Turn off the dramatic breaking news soundtrack. Abandon buzzword symposium. Tune into Operation Pronto right now, right in this second, not tomorrow. Not next month, right now. Tune into Operation Pronto. No corporate choreography, no consultant Olympics, no panel performance art. Just systems, incentives, reality. If you want factual incentive based breakdowns without theoretical nodding circle, you already know where to be. Now let me pivot for a second, because everything we're talking about right now, geopolitics, leverage, incentives, it all comes down to systems. And if you are a business owner watching this right now, you need to understand something simple. Every time your phone rings, nobody answers, you lose leverage. Every missed call, lost opportunity, lost revenue, lost momentum. That's no theory, that's math. That's why I built the system that saves your company. The software that fixes all your company's mistakes. It answers instantly to your phone calls. It books appointments instantly. It works 24/7, even after hours. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't miss calls. While your competitors are letting opportunities slip through their fingers, you're building structure. Comment AI below or hit the link in the description. Stop losing leverage, build systems. But let me remind you something higher than geopolitics. Because kings rise, kings fall, empires expand, empires collapse. But there's one who reigns eternally. Revelations chapter 19 says this. His eyes were as a flame of fire. On his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in the blood. And his name is called the Word of God. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. That is authority, that is sovereignty, that is ultimate power. Geopolitics is temporary. Christ is eternal. Big Nathan signing now, Operation Pronto. Tune into the next episode. And remember, pick a side. It's either you're the wise or you're the people on the side. If I were you, be the wise.